What have you lost as a result of Ms. Heard making these allegations against you?
Nothing less than everything. Nothing less than everything. Because when the allegations were made, when the allegations were rapidly circling the globe, telling people that I was a drunken, cocaine-fueled menace who beat women, it's over. You know, you're done. So, what did it do to me? What effect did it have on me? No matter the outcome of this trial, the second the allegations were made against the accusations, the second that more and more metastasized and turned into fodder for the media, once that happens, or once that happened, I lost then. That is to say, I lost. I will live with that for the rest of my life because of the allegations and because it was such a high-profile case. So I lost then, no matter the outcome of this trial. I'll carry that for the rest of my days. And it never had to be that way. It never had to happen. And I don't quite understand why it did in the way that it did.
If you were to lay out some of the key parts of Johnny and Amber's case, you would likely say something along the lines of key witnesses, Heard and Depp testifying against each other, and cross-examination. And that's exactly what this case has been doing and why it's been getting so intense. For the majority of this week, Johnny himself has been on the stand and making his case for why he wasn't an A-B'er and why Heard has been A-B'ing him during their marriage. But today was the day that Heard's lawyers got to cross-examine him, and it's fair to say that they very much went after him. We'll break it all down for you, but before we do that, go ahead and do us a favor by leaving a like on the video, subscribing to the channel, and hitting the bell icon so you never miss an upload from us. And with that being said, let's get straight into the video. Do you want to win an iPhone 12, maybe a MacBook Pro? How about $500 cash? All you have to do is comment the secret hidden message somewhere in this video. That's it. Oh, and leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel so we can keep affording these giveaways. Winner will be announced at the last day of each month. Thanks for watching and good luck. Number 6, the cross-examination of Johnny. As you might have guessed from our intro, Johnny took a beating from Heard's legal team, who went to work in all sorts of ways to try and make it clear to the jury that Depp was an A-B drug-fueled man and nothing more. And while Johnny did take it in parts, he also bit back. No, I wasn't drinking that heavily. It's what you define as heavily. Depp snapped back at defense attorney Ben Rottenberg at one point when pressed about his intake of alcohol during one part of his life. Subsequently, the lawyer read out testimony from Depp's failed 2020 UK libel case against the Sun tabloid, where the actor had said, "I was A-B'ing alcohol for sure," during the end of the pair's relationship. After quipping, "Were you there?" to Rottenberg over his drinking, Depp softly admitted that the testimony from the other side of the Atlantic was what he said, seemingly a contradiction to his stance in this case that he's not a heavy drinker and has pretty much never had a problem with booze. And if there's one thing Depp doesn't want in this case, it's contradictions starring him. Number 5, addiction woes. In a day that saw references to Keith Richards and Elton John among others, Depp's apparent widespread drug use was the primary focus of the latter part of his cross-examination. As more photographs and text messages were displayed in court, Depp sought again to stress his intake wasn't about enjoyment, but trying to handle the blast radius from his dysfunctional childhood and cinematic workload. "It's not like I took the pills to get high. I took the pills to get normal," Depp said of his addiction to oxycodone several years ago. The extent of that addiction and other substances was made crystal clear in a text to one of his nurses who had commented on 2015's Black Mass. "I was high as when I made that film," Depp told the nurse with a digital laugh. If you think this was as low as it got for him, you should know better than that by now. Number 4, how Depp acted. Later in the morning, Depp tried to get his own spin on his communications, as he has repeatedly over the past 3 days and in past court filings. "When I write a test, especially if I'm in a particular impassioned place, it's a canvas, it's a painting," the actor proclaimed before being shut down by Rottenberg. Destruction of property and rooms full of hookers and animals and blood were also brought up today in a methodical process that aimed to fray Depp's assertions of his personality and conduct in his relationship to Heard and previously. A May 2013 trip out to near Palm Springs with Heard and others was also entered into the record. Depp punched up a bathroom on that visit after an argument with openly bisexual Heard about the attention another woman was giving her, though Depp was more than happy to admit that, believe it or not, even noting that he had, quote, destroyed a couch or two in my time, and even stating that his father, via previous testimony, openly destroyed things in his childhood home over the alternative of hitting his mother, even breaking his hand after punching a cement wall at one point. Following up on that incident, an unflattering July 11th, 2013 text to Avengers actor Paul Bettany, who was mentioned at length earlier in the day, was read out. I, of course, pounded and displayed ugly colors to Amber on a recent journey, Depp told Bettany as the duo planned a future trip together. Ugly and sad, oh how I love it, Depp added to his friend. Not the best of things for a jury to hear when you're trying to showcase how you were a victim in an AB relationship, wouldn't you say? Number 3. Acting and affairs. Depp admitted in court Thursday that he believed in 2014 Heard was having an affair with James Franco, with whom she was making a movie. The actor bristled over low-key lawyer Rottenberg's description of him being in a blackout for portions of a private jet flight from Boston to LA, where Depp and Heard fought over Franco. Though confronted by testimony from his UK libel case that said otherwise, Depp refused to admit he was, quote, very drunk on that flight and could not black out from his consumption of oxycodone. Later, the actor rambled about caving in his British testimony before being cut off for brevity by Rottenberg. Depp was also not impressed by Rottenberg challenging his assertion that he had lied about being sober for 18 months before traveling to Australia in 2015 to work on the troubled Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Men Tell No Tales. An insurance form was brought forth, and the defense team indicated that Depp lied on the form about not being on drugs, when various incidents during that time indicated that he very much was. And if he would lie about that, what else would he lie about? Or at least that was their statement on the matter. Number 2, the texts. Johnny's texts were also a very key matter in terms of what was said and not said at the trial, because apparently Depp went to great lengths to describe his frustrations with Heard and how their marriage was going, even talking about it with friends at the time in Paul Bettany and Marilyn Manson, the latter of whom is not exactly the best person to be connected to right now, given the various accusations made on him by various women. Depp had to sit on the stand as many of these texts were read out loud and showed the very profane and violent language in which he described wanting to do various things to Heard at various points in their marriage. Now, it's also true that Johnny has talked about these texts in the past and even noted that he was embarrassed by what he said in the past, even apologizing for what he wrote at one point. Whether that actually matters to the jury as a whole is a different matter though, because the very clear goal of all of this was to do a smear campaign of Johnny to call his sobriety, his sanity, and his word into question. And based on certain reactions and statements made, it might be working. For now at least. Number 1, weathering the storm. For those who are hoping that Johnny gets the victory in this trial, you might think that today was the worst thing that could have happened. But in truth, this was a necessary step in the process, not the least of which is because Amber hasn't gone on the stand to plead her case, nor has she gone and stood up to scrutiny from Depp's lawyers. Yes, Depp did not come off the best on the stand and under the pressure of questions, but it's important to note that this isn't the end of the trial by a long shot. What's more, as of the time of this video being made, her team has not provided definitive proof to say that Depp physically AB'd her, nor contradict all the other witnesses who have noted how she harassed and AB'd Depp. As in all things, it's a process. Could this cross-examination of Depp have gone better? Of course. He definitely took some blows to his credibility here in various ways, and he came off as an angry man at points. But Heard is likely to take the same blows when her own cross-examination is done, and as a result of that, the only thing that both sides of the case can reasonably do is wait to see what happens next. And there you have it, everyone, a look at what went down when Johnny was cross-examined and how this might just affect him as the case goes forward. Do you think that Depp is in trouble based on what came out in court today? Or do you think that he's going to be fine because of the other testimony and witnesses, as well as what his team will likely do to Amber? Let us know what you think in the comments down below. Be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you next time on the channel.